Prince Harry felt a huge amount of hurt in his former role within the royal family and could decide to discuss his relationship with the institution, royal correspondent Peter Hunt suggested. Mr. Hunt claimed the Duke of Sussex is disappointed with how the royal family handled his exit from the firm and his relationship with his brother, Prince William, hitting rock bottom. The relationship grew strained after Prince Harry's marriage, and the Duke later revealed in the Oprah Winfrey sit-down interview that the bond with Prince Charles had also been affected. Asked whether Harry could mend his relationship with Prince William, Mr. Hunt told LBC, "I think there is no way it will because he promised for it, his memoir, to be a truthful account. He clearly has a huge amount of hurt around how his exit from the royal family was handled, and I think he will detail the breakdown of his relationship with his father." Remember, in the Oprah interview, he talked about his father not returning his calls, the breakdown of his relationship with his brother William, and various other details about it. He added, "I think at some point, the institution may reflect on how it could have handled it differently." Prince Harry announced the release of his memoir next year, but it has yet to be confirmed whether the publication will happen before or after the Queen's Platinum Jubilee in June. The book will be published by Penguin Random House, which will be available in digital, print, and audio forms. Daily Mail's editor-at-large Richard Kay claimed Prince Charles is concerned about the publication of the book as he nears his time as a monarch. Mr. Kay said, "I think the difficulty for Prince Charles, every time now Harry opens his mouth, he's seen to chip away at his father's credibility. This must be undermining their relationship. They have on the horizon the prospect of Harry's autobiography or memoir. We don't know what's going to be in it. But we do know he has spent some time digging into his mother's relationship with his father. They must be dreading the publication of that book and what it will mean." He continued, "We're edging closer to the Prince of Wales becoming monarch, and every time these embarrassing situations erupt with his son, it reminds people about why they have had problems with the prospect of Charles as king." Prince Harry is also expected to touch upon the impact of Princess Diana's death on his life, another topic Mr. Kay argued could affect Prince Charles' perception as he nears his time on the throne. Mr. Kay added, "He's done his level best over the last 15-20 years to try and rededicate himself to his future subjects, but there are obviously difficulties. People still haven't forgiven or forgotten the Diana years, and Harry's constant reminder about the past makes this a really tricky transition period for Charles." Meanwhile, Mr. Hunt argued Meghan and Harry's departure created a binary split between supporters of the Sussexes and other members of the royal family. Speaking to LBC, Mr. Hunt said, "Either you are pro-Harry or pro-William, and there doesn't seem to be much room where you could navigate a path through whereby you can accept there may have been fault on both sides, where they could have reached different accommodation. And I do think history will judge that the institution could have done more not to jettison them in the way that they are now jettisoned." Host Eddie Mair asked, "Sometimes when regular families have a dispute between siblings, it's been forced to a parent to heal the wounds or knocks heads together, whatever's required. I wonder Prince Charles' possible role?" Mr. Hunt replied, "I don't think he is one at the moment. I think that's part of the tragedy. As you rightly say, lots of family go through this, they just don't have the misfortune of going through it discussed by people like you and I in detail and in many other places, but I do think he does have a role, and I think it's clear he has a pretty bad split between him and his son Harry." Harry's upcoming memoir has also been tipped to cause potential new problems for the royal family and cause further tension with the Prince of Wales. A royal insider said, "There is a feeling among some of his long-term friends that Harry's outbursts, whether deliberate or unintentional, are chipping away at the prince's authority. This matters, as the day he becomes king is now no longer somewhere over the horizon. Charles himself is desperate not to exacerbate matters and, as always in matters concerning his children, is determined to avoid any confrontation. He has been hurt by some of the things that have occurred, but it's also fair to say he has also been baffled too." Speculation about Prince Harry's relationship with Prince Charles arose after the Duke of Sussex claimed his father had not been responding to his calls since his departure from the royal family in March 2020. why they have had problems with the prospect of Charles as king. Prince Harry is also expected to touch upon the impact of Princess Diana's death on his life, another topic Mr. K argued could affect Prince Charles' perception as he nears his time on the throne. Mr. K added, "He's done his level best over the last 15, 20 years to try and rededicate himself to his future subjects, but there are obviously difficulties. People still haven't forgiven or forgotten the Diana years, and Harry's constant reminder about the past makes this a really tricky transition period for Charles." Meanwhile, Mr. Hunt argued Meghan and Harry's departure created a binary split between supporters of the Sussexes and other members of the royal family. Speaking to LBC, Mr. Hunt said, "Either you are pro-Harry or pro-William and they're